Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alien vs Predator Galaxy YouTube channel. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And if you're coming back for another episode, thanks for sticking around with us. I am Aaron Percival, aka Corporal Hicks, and joining me, as always, is
Adam Zeller, aka Ridgetop.
And we're back for a motion tracker video. I didn't expect to be recording this one, so I'm actually quite excited. Well, no, one half of this I was expecting.
The other half came out of nowhere.
The other half came out of nowhere. So we'll do the expected half first. But it's on the title card. It's on the video. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about the new video game related stuff for Alien. So we've got a new expansion for Alien's Fireteam Elite and a brand new game. But we'll talk Fireteam Elite to start with. So brand new story expansion. 3 new missions, so it's like a full campaign like in the actual game, because all the campaigns are 3 missions long. But we'll watch the trailer first, and then we'll have a natter about what else is coming.
Was that a Xeno?
The corpse was definitely a xenomorph, slain in combat.
I think that's the new music.
Are those engineers?
Yeah, it's confirmed that Austin Wintory is doing new music for this campaign. But I don't know if this is it in the trailer or not. Maybe.
It feels it.
It's pretty cool, though. You can see a new kind of hive there.
Spicy nuggets, the best enemy.
They're neomorph-like enemies.
Xeno-neomorphs. The best class.
Something big's approaching your position.
And something new. So August 30th.
Indeed.
So about a month and a half.
So I shall bring up your article as well. So if you want to have a read of the fluff, so to speak.
Sure. Pathogen will see Alien's Fireteam Elite expanded with a brand new campaign containing 3 missions and new enemy types. The storyline sees the Endeavor's crew visit LV-895, where they find that the planet's xenomorphs have been infected and mutated into fearsome new forms. The trailer shows off several of these new aliens, which draw upon the grotesque white neomorph designs from Alien Covenant. To combat those new threats, Pathogen provides 8 new weapons, 26 new weapon attachments, and a new perk for each class that modifies its main ability. You can also expect 2 new outfits for all 7 class kits, 6 new head accessories, 21 new weapon colors, 9 gun decals, and 10 new emotes. Aliens Fireteam Elite Pathogen will launch as a paid-for expansion on August 30th. Coming alongside the expansion will be a free update that adds a hardcore mode that provides an extreme survival challenge.
And some screenshots as well.
Yeah, the pustule-filled white hives are pretty freaky looking.
Kind of reminds me of the fungus hive from Blackout. If you remember that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That was cool in that game. I mean, it had nothing to do with aliens, but that was cool.
I don't know how our Marines are going to walk through that without getting infected, though.
They'll have to take some of the antidote from Chariot of the Gods.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
It looks cool to me. I mean, it's what we've wanted for a while now, right? Is new campaign content, and finally we're getting that. So the game will have 5 campaigns in total after this launches. There was also an interview released with CEO and Cold Iron founder Craig Zinkovich. I don't know if you watched that yet, Aaron.
I have.
But he goes into that a bit, and he also talks about the permadeath hardcore mode, the free edition, which is quite interesting. Kind of has some like roguelike elements with that, where you keep your unlocks, but you have a character run, and whenever you die, that character you've created for that is dead forever. I mean, the game is already kind of hard enough for
On the
us
hard modes.
with
Yeah.
insane and extreme. So I don't know how deep we're going to
Well,
get into that one, but
Insane wasn't bad. It was extreme that we were struggling with.
yeah.
But how do you feel about it being paid, considering they said that all the DLC was going to be free?
I know there's been some controversy with that, and I've seen some of the comments on that. I do kind of feel like maybe the question asked to them was in related to year one and the first season pass, but their answer could have been worded better, right? It did say that the paid for stuff was going to be cosmetic. I'm kind of used to this with some games with story expansions, right? Like you look at Resident Evil, you look at Horizon, you look at Monster Hunter, and you can see story expansions are usually paid. I think people are kind of thinking about Fireteam Elite like it's a big multiplayer game. It's not. It's it's a co-op campaign shooter, and I feel like I've gotten my money's worth so far. And
Well, it was a cheaper price point as well, wasn't it?
yeah. So it was $40 game, and I've gotten a lot of hours of fun out of the game. And oftentimes too, I think this is a publisher decision, and this wouldn't be the first time that a game has said they weren't going to have certain content be paid, and then it was paid. So if you're going to have ire, I don't think it's probably best to be directed towards the devs, because this probably wasn't their decision. This was probably a publisher decision. But it is what we wanted. So it'll depend on the price point, I think. If it's something like $20, I think that's going to be really steep for a lot of people. If it's cheaper than that, then that would be better, But the game has been on sale a number of times since its release last year, so people have had the opportunity to get it on the cheap. And I don't think this is unreasonable. They've had a whole year of content with a lot of free additions to the game, and everything that has been paid so far has been cosmetic. So I personally don't have a problem with it, but I can understand why some players would feel frustrated about it.
I think if it's any more than a tenner, I'll be irked. That's, what was it, $40? So it was probably about 30 quid. And I know that Craig talked about it on the interview with IGN, talked about the gameplay time, but it's about half hour a mission, really. So realistically, if you're only playing it through the once, it's going to be an hour and a half of your time.
That's true. But these campaigns are designed with replayability.
They are, but again, is it going to draw people back in that have left it because of wanting more content? So just on the basis of playing it through once on its own, it's an hour and a half. I mean, we're probably going to get more time out of it, for sure, which is why I don't mind paying, between a $5 and a $10 for it. But interestingly, though, in that interview, Craig did talk about it having more variety in the actual sort of like pathfinding in the game. So how like in the first mission, the very first mission in the game,
switches from one area to the other, and a few others do that, but not too many.
I can't think of any other mission that does
the final campaign. There's a moment where you have to defend either one room or another, and it's
yes, quite right. Yeah, no. So I'll be interested to see how, because he sort of alluded to it being a bit more prominent in these missions. So I'm very curious to see. Cool. Yeah, because that was something I quite liked. I think it was in the beta. When we were playing the early access stuff, I was like, "Oh, this is actually changing." So I'm looking forward to seeing just how extensive that is in the actual campaign.
Another thing I'm curious about is the paid expansion. Like, it mentioned all these weapons, attachments. Like, is that all part of the paid?
Seems to be.
So, because people have gotten all the weapons free until now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely understand people's frustration if everything, not just the campaign, but all those weapons are going to be bundled into that paid thing. Yeah, I can understand people's frustration with that for sure.
Mm-hmm. But we'll have to roll with it and see how it is, see what the price point is as well. I do find myself a little hesitant about the Neomorphs in this, Yeah,
I noticed on our forum it was there was some disappointment that they weren't just our traditional Covenant neomorphs, that these were actually
You weren't even going to say
Zeomorphs.
Xenos then. You were going to say Zeomorphs.
But apparently these are xenomorphs that have been mutated by the pathogen, which there have been...
I mean, they seem more neomorphs bursted from an alien.
Really?
That's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, we did see that corpse there, so maybe you're right. That's weird. Yeah.
I don't like that.
You don't like that?
I don't like it. No. Like, I mean, I know you'd obviously seen this because you were asking me questions about, the comics that were doing this. But you only really see aliens affected by the pathogen in Fire and Stone, and maybe a little bit of holdover into Life and Death with the aliens. But to be fair though, we haven't seen them in a lot of other stuff outside of Into Charybdis when they weren't affected, and that's how I prefer it. I don't want the aliens to be affected by the black goo, because
it might not be just the black goo. It might be the neomorph, spores or whatever. Maybe that is a certain change to the black goo that does affect the aliens. I don't know.
But I don't know. It feels wrong because I like my consistency. The consistency that's come to the black goo in the EU in terms of it always creating this xenomorphic species, the species that follows the same morphology, the same invasive lifestyle, and they all seem related. And I don't like the idea of one being able to infect the other. So, I mean, I'm going to have to see how it flows within the narrative and how it works out. But just on the off, I'm a little bit...
And we do know there's going to be some traditional xenomorphs in this new campaign. You can see them in the trailer. I would imagine it's going to be something like the second campaign, where it starts off with the xenomorphs we know and then kind of transitions to more of the pathogen enemies, kind of like in the second campaign it did with the androids, right? You were fighting mostly aliens, so you were fighting mostly androids. So that's kind of what I expect with that, because they created all these pathogen enemies for just one mission in the main campaigns. So I always kind of suspected that if we were to get more DLC campaigns, there would be a pathogen focus to some of that, and that's definitely what we're getting. There was a teaser image for this before it was officially announced that also mentioned Paula Station, so I'm really hoping that will be the next piece of campaign DLC we get after this one.
That's the one you're obsessed with.
Yeah, just because I feel like it would be so appropriate to have that aliens colony like experience in our aliens game, so now this will be 3 campaigns of the game that are prequel focused. The majority of the game is prequel focused, which is fine. Again, it handles those prequel elements quite well, in my opinion, just like the RPG. That's cool that you got that artwork without the titles on it. I'll have to get that from you because I haven't seen it.
I'll upload it to the gallery and stuff later, with the urns just knocking around in the hive. How do you feel about the... What's with this? What's with this bulge?
Well, if you look at some of the other pictures, they have them all over their bodies on some, which is kind of weird, like on the tops of their heads.
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. Are those like spores on them? Like it's weird. I'm not sure. I mean, they do kind of look like more developed neomorphs than we saw in Covenant, and yeah, as you know, I'm like, just give us a regular ass neomorph, right? For Covenant.
Yeah. That's like, I've been so excited for that kind of thing. There's lots of people on our boards but saying, come on, give some neomorphs. Okay.
Well, we'll see. But
I'm excited for the new content. I'm also I'm not as thrilled as I am about this next piece. I must be honest.
I'm excited because I've loved Fireteam Elite.
I've really enjoyed it,
and I wanted to see the story with the Marines continue. So I'm excited to see that. I'm glad the game got some promotion with the IGN coverage right now, which is like typical E3 time, even though E3 is not really back yet. So all these game companies are doing their big blowout news things in June. So I'm excited, and I'm not so sure. Like, it'll be interesting to see with year 2, right? Like, how is a new season pass going to work? How is the content going to work? Because if they're not having free paid weapons anymore, you could get a disgruntled community. So that'll be something that I think they need to resolve in some fashion.
Yeah, some news soon would be nice. Although an exciting piece of news as well is with season 4, which will drop the month before Pathogen, we get a new game mode and, more importantly, crossplay.
Yes, finally crossplay. So that has been something we've been wanting for a while, because we do have some friends who play on PlayStation, and it'll be nice to finally party up with them on PC. So hopefully that'll be good for matchmaking as well, for people who use matchmaking. Have a little easier time partying up with people in the difficulties and the selections they want to play.
Right, shall we move on?
Yeah, so new Aliens game out of nowhere, like we were talking about, and this is Aliens Dark Descent, also published by Focus Home Interactive. So it kind of makes us wonder if they are just, or Focus Home Entertainment.
Focus Entertainment.
My bad. It makes us wonder if they're just the series publisher now, if they just have the rights to the Alien franchise when it comes to gaming. But did you want to watch the trailer for this one as well, Aaron?
Yes, I shall.
It's a good trailer. $21.98.
So this is a good 20 odd years after Alien 3.
Recon Squad. Our mission was to enter the Tantalus base, locate the comsat relay, and bring it back online. We found the relay, but there was a problem.
Get that door closed now, Private. Close that gate. Nothing gets in here. Ray didn't make it.
At least it's in one piece.
Willis, take the lead.
You can notice the
Colonial Marines, SMG, yeah.
Oh, this ain't good. What we found was a new kind of evil. And it found us first.
Now what is
See,
that?
I have questions here.
This wasn't human.
That looks like Dead Space.
Yeah, it's like the Chimera from Resistance.
Retreat! Willis! Open fire! Go!
And that guy's like, you just made me lock this door.
Alvarez, through that door!
Yeah, he's just gonna leave her to die like this.
I absolutely was like, oh damn, you did not. I love that.
I don't know what I saw in there. But I know when I close my eyes.
He's still using tapes.
Of
I
course.
still see it. Now everyone's dead.
See, the switch here, I was like, yes, okay.
And someone needs to know.
You know, the space station in orbit there. Now we're gonna see just a tiny bit of gameplay here at the end.
Tiny bit of gameplay.
Yeah. So 2023.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. We thought it was the content for Fireteam Elite at first. But we were like, wait, no, this is something new.
Well, this came when I was in the middle of an RPG session. I was playing Alien RPG when you were messaging me with this one. Completely out of nowhere. My first reaction, though, was, cheap isometric shooter. I'll buy it, sure. but you know what? When after you'd posted it, you'd gone to bed, and I went to bed and woke up next morning and was reading through everything. I was like, this is not a cheapo isometric shooter. This is some very in-depth looking piece of entertainment, and I pieced together this description from some of the press material, where they described it as an enthralling single-player squad-based action game where gamers lead a squad of Marines in real-time combat. And the narrative lead on the game, when I asked him, what game would you find this more comparable to? And he said, it was sort of described to him as a real-time XCOM.
And those XCOM games are pretty acclaimed and pretty popular. Yeah. I mean, I think that was the reaction of a lot of people, and myself at first. I was a little cautious about it. But the trailer got me. Like, it's a really cool trailer. So I
want to know who did that.
Immediately intrigued. Yeah. But people were saying, is this just a twin stick shooter? It's not. So it's like you were saying, it's more like a real-time strategy / action game. It also makes me think of some other isometric games like The Ascent. But yeah, you have some isometric games now that go pretty deep, like Path of Exile and stuff like that. And so it seems like it could be something more along those lines, which I would be quite stoked about. Because again, just like Fireteam Elite, it's something kind of new that we haven't really seen in the gaming space for Aliens before. But we just did our Let's Play of Thanatos Encounter, and some of those elements, it seems, kind of parallel with stuff like this, in terms of like your Marines getting killed forever and stuff like that.
But do you want to have a read through the article, or shall I read this one? You wrote, but no, you didn't write this, don't you?
Yeah.
I'll read this one. I'll read this one. So, Aliens Dark Descent has been announced, coming 2023 to PlayStation 4 and 5. Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One and PC. I'm like, what the hell's the Xbox O?
Xbox naming, man.
Just moments ago, the brand new game called Aliens Dark Descent was announced at Summer Game Fest. So also where the Fireteam stuff came from, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's coming from Focus Entertainment and Tindalos Interactive. It's a single-player squad-based action game set within the Alien franchise. Romain Clavier, CEO of Tindalos Interactive, said the entire team at Tindalos is dedicated to delivering a gaming experience faithful to the spirit of the Alien franchise and adding its own never seen before elements to this iconic universe. The gameplay we have developed is unique, inspired by our favorite tactical and CRPG games, and packaged in nerve-wracking real-time action. Translating from film to our game, the sheer terror caused by the deadliest species known to man was quite a challenge, but I'm confident most of you will end up in strung-out shape, as Higgs himself would say.
Real quick, so I was wrong there. Different event. Fireteam Elite was IGN's Summer of Gaming, and this was Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest. Easy to get those two confused, but...
That's the G4 person?
No.
Okay.
He's the Game Awards host guy. He also has
Game Awards. Okay. Yeah. So we've watched the cinematic trailer, and these were some extra bits from. I think I added this from the official FAQ. So they've on Twitter and on Discord for the Tindalos Discord and the official Alien Dark Descent page on Reddit. They've done a pretty nice big FAQ. We'll read through some of the bits in there as well, but this is what it sort of elaborated on the way the game works, and a little bit of the narrative in there. So in Aliens Dark Descent, you control a squad of 4 colonial marines, issuing orders in real time. You will infiltrate large open levels filled with wonders from the Alien franchise while annihilating enemies with your squad. Strategically plan out your raids to complete as many objectives as possible in each run before extracting your team to return back to your base. Slow down time with the press of a button to make strategic decisions during combat. Extract your marines safely at the end of long missions and watch them gain experience and level up, unlocking precious advanced skills and specialties. Now, this bit I was really intrigued with. Make sure to monitor your marines' health and stress. Oh, wait, no, it's not that bit. Okay, it's not in there. We'll talk about that. Make sure to monitor your Marine's health and stress levels on the field, however, because death is permanent in the game and losing your units forever a real possibility. The Otago ship, which has suffered serious damage after crashing on Moon Leith, acts like your base of operations. Over the course of the game, you will rescue specialists and salvage repair materials, unlocking many perks and improvements that will directly impact the performance of your Marines. I'll expand the armory to unlock weapons, the med bay for faster recovery time between missions, the workshop to unlock specializations and perks, and more. So there's another thing in this about the units having like a sanity.
Yeah, that's
which
quite
I think is
interesting.
really intriguing. Yeah, because I mean that's it kind of makes me think of the panic mechanic from the RPG. You know, where it feels like something unique but something very alien. So you get 5 starting classes of Marines. There, sanity. So lead strategically and change squad tactics from mission to missions because the aliens do learn from you. Carefully managing your soldiers' health resources and sanity to avoid permanent team losses and mental breakdowns. So I'm very intrigued with how that's going to be handled.
Yeah. And they also released some official screenshots, which look cool. Like, I'm down, man. I'm on board.
It seems to be, I'm assuming there'll be some level of zoom in and zoom out, but it seems focused enough that I think the tension's going to still be there. Like, even though you can see around some, bits and pieces of the scenery, right? You can see through the door there. I still think it's narrow enough that it's probably going to be tense enough.
Now, how do you feel about single player only? Because I know some games like that do have co-op, like The Ascent. I don't know if XCOM has multiplayer or not.
I don't know, but I'm all for it because let's face it, the last couple of games we have been multiplayer focused. Fireteam Elite, and granted it's Predator, it's not Alien, but Hunting Grounds. So to have something that's more, it is that single player experience. I'm all for. One of the strongest games in the franchise was a single player experience. Isolation. I don't think the amount of players on the screen or on the server is going to really make that big of a difference for me. And I'd be surprised if it's that much of a bother for people.
I just wonder if it's something like, and people have brought this up too, like AVP Extinction, right? Like single player only game, but everyone was thinking, why didn't this have multiplayer?
Yeah, but that's kind of different because that was an RTS, and there is precedence and scale in there for ginormous multiplayer games.
Mm-hmm.
StarCraft, after all, was AVP reskinned, so there was expectation there.
Well, that's what I mean. Like StarCraft has a huge single player component, right? But it also has a huge multiplayer component.
But
so
this isn't that though,
right,
is it? That's
not a proper RTS. We'll have to see, but I mean, it's not going to turn me away from the game. Like I love single player games for sure. I'm just wondering if there will be that feeling there, like, oh, you could have had multiplayer as well. So
this is the FAQ on the Reddit. I won't go through everything, but it's been designed with pad accessibility in mind for the game. In between missions, the Otago, which has suffered serious damage after crashing, it says planet there, or moon in the other thing, on Leth acts like your base of operation. Oh no, we've already talked about that. So some of the other stuff is described as a persistent world. So clarifying it in here, they say, with its objective-based mission structure and the many ways a run can spiral out of control, the player will likely not be able to clear all of a level's objectives in one go. The persistent nature of Alien's Dark Descent's world means that any doors welded, sentry guns positioned, motion trackers set, or shortcut unlocked persists in between runs, providing massive benefits to players who take the time to plan ahead for future missions.
see,
I
that makes me
really
wonder.
like the sound of that.
That makes me wonder if this is going to have like roguelike elements, right? Where you just have a run and it's maybe not for certain you're going to make it to the end of the run. And eventually all your guys die and you're kind of trying to see how far you can go. Maybe there isn't an end to the game, you know? Maybe there will be like procedurally generated levels and stuff. So,
Well, I mean, there must be an end to it because they gave a time of 30 plus hours for.
yeah. So that does make you think that it is a campaign that could be completed. But yeah, the whole the mention of runs there kind of makes me think more roguelike. But I mean, we have seen games like
Well,
that, like Returnal, right? That's a game where you can complete the campaign, but it also has very roguelike elements. So
Well, it was saying, objectives, so perhaps it's a case of you got to go through this area and do all this stuff before it's considered complete.
yeah,
So we also know the names of our protagonists. A fresh deputy administrator of the Pioneer Station, which is Mako Hayes. And we also, of course, have a hardened colonial marine in the way of Jonas Harper, Sarge, who is part of the team, part of the Marines aboard the ship that crashes on the
is he the
moon.
one in the trailer?
I don't think so. I think that no, his name was Alvarez,
Oh, okay.
which I think Blue pointed it out on the boards. Is that no? Blue pointed it out in the live stream with us at the weekend. Is that a coinkydink to Fede Alvarez?
That would be funny.
And I think that was the most interesting stuff from there at the minute. So, yeah. I am surprisingly really excited for this. I am. I'm really curious to see how this pans out because it feels, from what I've read, so different and unique. And yes, I'd still like my FPS AVP game, and I did not ask for nor expect Dark Descent. But goddamn, the more I read about it, the more I was like, sign me up. I'm ready for this. I'm really excited for it. I really am, and I'm more so than I think any of the more recent games.
Yeah, me too. And I am, I'm very much looking forward to it, and very curious to see how all those new gameplay features will eventually develop. In terms of a context of aliens. So, yeah, I'm quite intrigued, and I'll definitely be picking it up when it eventually drops next year. So hopefully next year we'll have that new movie out, and we'll have this new game, and maybe even more Fireteam Elite content, and hopefully it'll be a really good Aliens year.
Good time to be an Aliens gamer. Although I still want that AVP FPS, please.
I know AVP 4, right? 4 would be.
Well,
they're not going to number them
yeah.
anymore. But yeah, we do need another AVP FPS. It's about time. Long past about time.
Yeah, many years past about time. Right. Anything else you want to say on the new games?
Bringing it back to Hunting Grounds again, we should be getting DLC this month, I think. So
Is that speculation?
That's if they follow from the every other month trend they've been doing.
Because they haven't done they haven't released a roadmap for a while, have they?
No, they haven't. But they've still done every other month. They've had at least something. So we'll have to see if that comes this month, and if it does, we'll have a motion tracker for you. Hopefully.
Well, it depends.
If it's more substantial than the last two, we'll see. But
I can't say we really do them about the class drops, do we? So
yeah.
Right. Well, I'm really curious about what everybody else feels about these the new games. I say games, new games, the new DLC and the new game. So do let us know what you're thinking down below in the comment section. As always, please be sure to check us out on the website, avpgalaxy.net, and all the socials are right there at the bottom of the screen right now. So go head on over, give us a like, give us a follow, whatever. And if you want to join in with nerds as well, come sign up to the boards. Come and enjoy some old school message board organized discussion on there. And if you haven't as well, also, we released our latest episode of the podcast the other day, last week, which is also on the YouTube channel if you want to see the video version, or if you'd just rather listen to the audio in the car or on the walk or whatever. That's also available on all the normal podcatcher places, Spotify and Podbean and stuff like that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been Corporal Hicks.
And Ridgetop?
Signing off.